Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. Do a quick hard rock and metal update. Start off, I posted a comps video and the New York Metal 84 album. One of the bands was a band called Tekashi. And the album is Kamikaze Killers. I love this album. Or I guess I don't know if you. I guess it would be an EP. There's 4 songs on here, 4 great songs. Mongol Horde Records #1, the first album on Mongol Horde Records, which was a New York label. I think Virgin Steel was on there. Thor was on there. And Tekashi. So Tekashi was one of those bands that was really coming up. They were making a name for themselves. They were working, opening up for big national acts. A lot of the early metal bands, and then they just kind of vanished. I haven't been able to find much information about. They were doing these major tours. They were looking at some major label interest, and then they just kind of something happened, and they just split up. Now, I believe one of the players, was it the guitar player maybe? I could be wrong on that, but one of the members ended up being the road manager for Twisted Sister for a couple decades. And maybe that had something to do with the band splitting up. But really good New York heavy metal, early New York heavy metal. This was 83 when this came out. Not an expensive EP either. You can find this for a good, I don't know, 10, 12 bucks maybe. I think I paid right around that. Really good condition though, but kind of see the band right there. Not to be confused with the Japanese Tekashi band, because there is another band in Japan called Tekashi as well. But very cool. Definitely worth having in your collection for all you metalheads out there. Next up, this is one I've been looking for years. I've run across copies of it a few times. It's always in bad condition. I found this, I kind of lucked into this at one of my local stores. It's a promo copy, but this is the self-titled album from Blue Murder. This was John Sykes' band, one of John Sykes' mini bands. He did Twisted Sister. He did another band after. I don't remember where he went after that. Then did this one. I've always really liked this album. You've also got, is it Carmine? I think it's Carmine Appice or Appice on this one. I can't see it on the back. Really good album though. I really like this one. They don't pop up much, but and they've gotten pretty expensive. I don't know why this hasn't been reissued yet, because it's on Geffen. But Blue Murder. Next up, this is a local band, man. I saw them, so I went to a festival. It was a doom and sludge festival. Man, Crowbar was there. Corrosion of Conformity was there. Who else? Pentagram was there. Is it Weed Eater? No. Yeah, Weed Eater was there. All these big name doom and sludge bands. I'm missing somebody. There was another really big doom band. Wino was there with I can't think of the band that he's doing right now. It was his original band. Then he played for Saint Vitus and about a dozen other bands, Spirit Caravan. And this is the band that he's been doing. Man, I got like one of their albums right there too. I don't know why I can't think of it. Anyway, Wino Weinrich's band was there. And I love all of those bands. Those are all favorites. The Pepper Keenan, COC with Pepper Keenan, Crowbar, one of my ultimate favorites, all-time favorites. But one band that really stood out to me was a local doom band that goes by the name Order of the Owl. They played the smallest room. So where this festival was, there's a huge room that seats 700-800. There's a medium-sized room that seats 200 or 300, and then there's a small room that's got a little tiny stage. You can fit like 50 here. There's a bar in the middle, and then you can fit like 20 on the other side. And they were in the smallest room, and they did one of the sickest sets that I've seen. They were so good. I tried to find a merch booth. They had no merch booth set up. I tried to get some information about them online. So they've released this right here. This one album, a number of singles, and a couple of cassettes. And they all go, they never pop up. They don't go for crazy money. But the cassettes and 7-inches are pretty expensive. But yeah, they just don't pop up online, and I had never seen them in stores. And they're a local band, you know. So I did some research on the band, and the singer was in another local doom band that I really liked from back in the day called Zoroaster. That was kind of short-lived. He was just a bass player in that one, if I remember correctly. This one, he's the singer as well. And man, he does this thing where he's got his bass super low, and he's like bent over and like this like evil. I don't even know what you call it. It just looks evil. And then he's got the mic super low down. And he's like leaned over playing his bass, leaning into the mic. It looks weird, super uncomfortable, kind of creepy, and it's just fantastic doom. But here's the one release they've had, and this is from like 2012, if I remember correctly. This is quite a few years old, and they're still doing shows, so I don't know why. And everybody I've talked to locally that knows of the band loves them, talks about how great they are. They just pop up from time to time, open up for national acts. There's some really good videos of them online too, doing a show. But highly recommend checking them out. If you ever run across this album, just grab it. It's fantastic. Next up, the same day I bought that, so the owner of the store knows I'm a metal guy, and he got pretty excited, and he ran in the back and grabbed this from a collection that he just bought. He's like, this is right up your road. And it happens to be a band I've talked about quite a bit over the years, Zentrix, and it's my favorite album from Zentrix, and it's an original pressing. All I had was the MOV pressings of the Zentrix stuff, because I never see it. I mean, it was a UK band. They did press some stuff here in America, but most of their stuff is from the UK. And this one is, I can't say, yeah, it looks like this one's UK as well. But it's definitely European, any way you look at it. So, but Ken from Zentrix. And I just talked about this within the last 6 or 7 months. I've shown this because I was playing it quite, pulled it out, and I was playing it quite a bit. But I think this is the best of the British thrash bands. Just all their stuff from the 80s is fantastic. The stuff from the 90s, this is actually from the 90s. This was 92, I think. And it's all good. They do have a new album out that I haven't run across yet. I will be grabbing that as well. And get the MOV pressing. You're not going to run across an original pressing like this in the store, not likely anyway, but you may see those MOV pressings, and they do sound really good. Next up, I actually bought a collection of 3. It wasn't really a collection, but somebody had sold a bunch of audio file recordings and imports, and there was some UFO stuff in there. So the first one I bought, I believe this one is, this is a Japanese pressing of Force It that sounds fantastic. I know some people don't think there's enough bass in the Japanese pressings, but there are quite a few records that sound fantastic. And what I like about the Japanese pressings is the highs and mids are usually a lot cleaner than on the American pressings. So if you've got an EQ, you can just bump the bass up a little bit, and they sound fantastic. A lot of people say that's the shortfall. I think it's an obstacle, but for those of us that have been collecting for a long time, we've got EQs. My EQ is usually bypassed, but for stuff like this, I just turn that thing on, and it takes it to the next level. So UFO Force It. UFO is just an all-time favorite. From that same collection, I also got a really nice German, I believe. Is this German or UK? Yeah, German pressing of Lights Out. Sounds quite a bit better than my original US pressing, so I was really happy to get this one as well. Probably my favorite UFO album. And then last but not least, this is actually a US pressing of Obsession. I haven't cleaned the sticker off yet or bagged it yet, but I was just listening to this. So really nice upgrade. My pressing that I've had for years and years is just beat. I've played this album so much, and really nice to have a real nice replacement upgrade copy. Sorry. Let's see. Am I putting these in the wrong spot? I'm confusing myself where I'm setting stuff. Also picked up this one, another one that I really like, Diamond Rex. I don't know much about this band. I do like them. This was a kind of second tier glam band. This album was from '86. A little over the top, but in the ways I like. So, is that Children or Band of the Damned? Another one you can buy for relatively cheap. I run across these every couple years, and they're never more than $15-20. And I've always loved this album. Next up, a lot of people did not like this one. I bought it on CD because my pre-order copy was taking forever to come in. And then it arrived with a kind of a damaged corner. So they ended up refunding me the money for it. I was going to replace it, and I was like, why bother? It's not an album I'm going to pull out all the time. But it was an album that really surprised me. So this is Patient Number 9 from Aussie. This was the Comic-Con variant. Yeah, the Comic-Con exclusive, Blue Smoke. After the Comic-Con, there were still some left, so they sold them exclusively over the Aussie website. I just kind of happened across it. I had heard one of the songs on the album and really liked it, and went to the website and they had the exclusive, so I grabbed it. But he went a little different route. He's had for years now. He's had a bunch of writers. He was hired. That was a big part of Zach leaving for a while. He was having guys like Vince Gill write songs for him, which Vince Gill is one of the greatest guitar players of all time, and he does play some really killer metal guitar, believe it or not. Zach heard that him and a couple other guys that were not metal were writing songs for Ozzy, and that kind of pissed Zach off and kept him from coming back even longer. But what was cool about this one is who he brought in. So it's different guitar players on, and he's not just guitar players, but drummers, bass players. But on here you've got Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Taylor Hawkins, he's one of the most overrated drummers of all time. Sorry, was Tony Iommi, Mike McCready, Duff McKagan, Chad Smith, Robert Trujillo, and Zakk Wylde, obviously. What really blew me away were the Jeff Beck songs. Both Jeff Beck songs on here are fantastic. I like most of the album, surprisingly, and I've been playing it quite a bit lately. I've been in a Beck mood, and the Jeff Beck tracks on here are fantastic. So, if you haven't grabbed it, because all of Ozzy's albums since 2001 have been pretty shitty. Maybe 2000. No, sorry. All of his albums since like 97 have been shit. That one was actually pretty good, and I think it's worth it just for the Jeff Beck songs. But the Clapton song on there is pretty good as well. And there's like 5 songs on there I really liked, but the whole album is pretty good. Next up, this is a band I didn't even know about. So I got an email from their label. I bought something a few years ago, so I get labels from the emails from time to time, trying to sell their wares. And one of the bands that popped up was Go Ahead and Die. And usually I would have scrolled right by it, but I got a phone call, and left it on the page. And as I was listening or talking on the phone, I just kind of glanced down and saw that it was a Max Cavalera side project. And it's a side project with his son. Sometimes he goes by Igor, sometimes he goes by Amadeus. I think it's Amadeus Igor Cavalera. So it's his son singing and him playing guitar. His son plays guitar too. Actually in... God, I'm drawing a blank on everything today. What's the band that he started after Sepultura? God. Old age is kicking in today. I don't know. Soulfly. Oh my God. So his son actually plays with him in Soulfly right now. Actually, his son is playing drums. I'm sorry, not guitar. In Soulfly. Drums, I believe. Anyway, this is him and his son. Really good. I really dug it. I bought this. This is the full album. They just did an EP recently, and the reason I didn't buy the EP was because I was going to see them in January, and then the day of, something came up. I wasn't feeling good, so I didn't end up going because I was going to buy. A lot of his shows, he's got signed copies of whatever the most recent project was. And that's what I was going to buy. And they didn't have it. I'm sorry, I didn't end up going. So all I've got is this right now. I'm really looking forward to getting the EP. I really dug this, though. I mean, it sounds like a lot of the other stuff. If you liked Commercial Suicide, if you like the Soulfly stuff, you're going to like Go Ahead and Die. Next up, this is a band that I just kind of found out about organically. I was going through buying CDs. I think the first time I saw one of their albums was about 10, 12 years ago, and it just kind of looked like a power metal album. And that's kind of what it was, but it's not the non-stop double bass that you get from a lot of the European power metal bands. These guys had their own sound, and I really dug it, and I'm really glad to see some of their stuff getting pressed to vinyl. But this is Soul Temptation from Brainstorm. This is one that was done by Brutal Planet, so Scott did the artwork on here. I believe Rob. Let's see if it says... I don't see it on here, but I think Rob did the production on here. Sounds great. Fantastic album. You really can't go wrong with it. I've got, I think, 5 or 6 of the Brainstorm albums, and I love them all. So another band I would definitely recommend. Next up, one of my favorite bands, and I'm so glad some of this stuff is finally getting reissued. Great music, fantastic artwork, always a favorite. God, I want to see these guys live someday. Was it them I missed? No, it was somebody. A band I want to see someday. But this is Gravedigger. So Jolly Roger has been doing fantastic reissues. Luckily, the artwork on this is really good. The one bad thing about Jolly Roger is they just blow up the artwork, and a lot of time it's easy to tell. But the pressings all sound really good, and the music's always fantastic on their pressings. So even though I'm not a fan of them just blowing up the artwork instead of paying somebody to do it right, and part of that is probably because they do such limited runs. They usually do 100 copies on colored vinyl and 200 copies on black vinyl. And it's sad that these things aren't selling out in the pre-order, because they're such great albums, especially this era. But this is Ballads of the Hangman from Gravedigger. It's just a fantastic power metal album. They've always been one of my favorites. Next up, the Clans are still marching. The Clan albums are some of the best power metal albums out there. They've got 3 of them. This is actually The Clans Are Still Marching as a live album, but it covers a lot of the Clan stuff. And man, such a fantastic live album. Jolly Roger's really blowing it out of the park sound-wise. But and again, just beautiful artwork on all their album covers. And then I believe this one was MOV. So MOV just did this one. This is one of the Clan albums. And this is Tunes of War. Just great stuff. And then last but not least, just an all-time favorite. I've had this copy for a number of years. I've shown it before. It's not new. I just pulled it out and listened to it. This is my West German copy of Black Tiger from Y&T. Just, I think one of the all-time great covers. It's just a fantastic album. So that's it, guys. Just kind of what I've been listening to. Some none of this is really brand new stuff. Well, I guess the UFO I bought just within the last month or so, the Zentrix. So yeah, there's some new ones in there. There's also a little bit of just what I've been spinning. So that's it, guys. I hope everybody's doing good. Take care, and I'll see you soon, VC. Bye.